Do you have a problem with how he handled the media?
Yeah, for some degree. Well, it's not really about the media. It's just about him, about being a professional, about understanding that when you're young and dumb and you made the kind of mistakes that he made, doesn't mean he's guilty of what he was accused of. Please don't get me wrong. But finding himself in that position, you don't owe anybody an explanation at this point in terms of talking about the specifics of everything that transpired. But you know what? You do have a game this upcoming week against Seattle. Folks would like to know what you were doing to get yourself prepared. What were you doing to make sure that you're in peak condition to make up for the 6 weeks that you were gone? That wasn't anybody's fault on the Dallas Cowboys. That was all about you finding yourself in that particular situation. So this is not about a need for him to explain himself to the media or to talk to the media in terms of revisiting all that happened. But it is about you recognizing that you're in the professional ranks. You're not a collegiate athlete. You don't get to hide behind the head coach. And if you want to be dismissive towards everybody else, understand that all that happens when you do that is you force folks to lie in wait for the next mistake that you'll make because of how you handled things on this particular situation. And you're not going to get the benefit of the doubt in that equation either. Those are the kind of things that you have to learn from or learn about when you are on the professional level and you're in the professional ranks. He sat there yesterday, as far as I'm concerned, talking like an individual that was victimized, that was railroaded, that was wrongly sent home for 6 weeks. And it forces us to remind everybody that whether he's guilty or innocent of the allegations that were leveled against him is not for me nor anybody else to say, including the NFL, by the way. But because you found yourself in 5 separate incidences over the span of 3 days, 3 specific days in 2006, you got yourself suspended for 6 games, and you may very well have cost the Dallas Cowboys a trip to the playoffs. Knowing that you did that, you would suspect that one would know better than to having the kind of attitude that he seemed to have yesterday. But it is his prerogative.
Boy, you and I really disagree about this one, Stephen A. I thought he handled it just right. First, to your point about what have you been doing to get yourself ready for the Seahawks, he explicitly stated there, we just saw it, I will answer questions about that. That's what I want to talk about. He made himself available to the media to talk about football. The media wasn't interested in asking those questions. They wouldn't go there. He tried a couple times. They took a couple more passes at talking about off-the-field stuff, which he has discussed in the past. And finally, he cut it short because they weren't going to ask him about football. Now, I understand those who would say he really should be talking about the off-the-field stuff. That was significant, and he needs to discuss it. Not only has he, but think about like a criminal trial or any kind of a trial. When you're on the witness stand, how is that person instructed by their attorneys? Only answer the questions you're asked. Don't give them anything extra. Why? Because everything you say will be scrutinized and ultimately potentially used against you. Now, this is not a courtroom, but it is a court of public opinion. Any word he utters, of any utterance of his, about the off-the-field stuff will be parsed, dissected, analyzed, and it will be grist for the mill on an ongoing basis, all week. This will be discussed today and then dropped, which is why someone smart in his camp, some PR person or smart advisor said, hey, you've already addressed the other stuff. Just say you want to look forward. You're willing to talk about football. I know it's not satisfying. What he was he alleged of doing was very serious. If he did it, he got off really easy. I mean, if he did it, he should be in jail. So he got off super easy. But he was not convicted of it. He has a right at this point to say, I have addressed it. I want to talk about football and look forward. I actually think not only was there not something wrong with it per se, I think it was actually the wise choice. As I often say, Stephen A., a dilemma is not just a tough choice, as it's usually referred to just as a tough choice. Someone has a dilemma. It's a choice between 2 bad options. So if you want to say nothing he could have done here would have come out, with him smelling like a rose, fine. But I actually think this was the lesser of the evils in terms of his own kind of career path and the choice he could make dealing with the media. I really don't have a problem with it.